Spotlighting Spoofy the Whale's Bitcoin price manipulation strategy in the order book as Bitcoin price attempts to recover the trend line. Hey guys, it's Keith Allen. Hope you had a great weekend. I had a pretty good weekend. Actually, spent some time with family, did a little bit of charting, and actually in that brief amount of time I spent looking at charts, I discovered what I believe is Spoofy the Whale's strategy. Now, if you're not familiar with the whole Spoofy the Whale story, let me enlighten you a little bit. I've been tracking this behavior in the order book for really the better part of the month. Throughout the month of March, I've seen this manipulative behavior. I've shared it with you guys time and time again. And, we're getting some good coverage on it. Cointelegraph has posted several articles on it as well. And so, it's been a price suppression strategy thus far, but over the weekend, I noticed a change in that strategy where it appeared that this entity I've dubbed Spoofy the Whale has been pushing their price, pushing Bitcoin price down finally into some bids. So I am going to show you in this analysis, I'm going to show you really exactly what I saw in the order book throughout the month, and most specifically over the weekend. And of course, we'll look at the charts and see what the technicals are and how things line up with technical analysis along with the order book liquidity, and see if we can get some bearings on short-term price action as well as the macro here, because we have a monthly close coming tonight. And we have, of course, the quote-unquote Liberation Day that's stoking FUD related to tariffs and recessions, all really kind of weighing heavy on markets right now. And Bitcoin making a bit of an attempt at a recovery at the moment. So we'll see how this all plays out. Before we climb in real quickly, if you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and smash all the buttons. Help me grow the channel. Those likes and those shares go a long way. But most importantly, I love your comments. Live chat is open, so I invite you to get into the mix with me here today, and we will of course, do my best. I'll do my best to answer any questions you have. But if you've got insights, I want to hear them. So without further ado, hey, Sebster, good to have you with me from the UK again. Greetings from sunny Miami, Florida. One more note I want to share with you guys. We're having a flash sale, and it ends tonight, Premium Plus. If you want to get access to this alpha, okay, listen, if you want the alpha when it's most actionable, that means you need it kind of like in real time. And so either two things have to happen. I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to start posting and sharing this stuff with you live in real time, or you subscribe. And if you do that, then you have 24/7 access to all the tools that I'm using and sharing with you, and you can start to really figure this stuff out for yourself and act on it when it is most actionable. Having a flash sale right now. Link is in the description. But the code is alpha30 for 30% off at materialindicators.com. So now let's go ahead and climb into the charts. I'm going to start here on the candle chart and show you what we're seeing happening in real time right now as Bitcoin price attempts to recover the trend line here. This is exactly what we wanted to see. And this is exactly as, I kind of scripted this here based on my weekend analysis with Spoofy's behavior. And I'm going to show you that in just a minute. Of course, we have a monthly close. The weekly close was not great. Let's be honest, weekly close, not so bueno. But the monthly close coming up this evening, here's where we have a chance. Last month closed at roughly 84,320. And so that's not too far away. Right, we're approaching that from here now. I posted this morning, and this morning it was a 3% move. Prices come up since then. So at this stage, it is 84,320. That's less than 1%. That's like 1% away, not even. So certainly in the realm of possibilities for us to challenge this. Whether we can clear it, whether Bitcoin price can clear that or not, remains to be seen. But we will, of course, be looking for new trend precognition signals after the monthly close tonight to see if we get a new signal here with the A2 plus arrows, or potentially a reversion here with the A1 slope line showing a momentum shift. Lots of FUD overshadowing the market right now, of course, mostly related to the administration's uh, policies on tariffs, and that is stoking recessionary fears. Listen, I've said since the beginning that I think these tariffs are a negotiating tactic. We've seen it time and time again. He says something's going to happen on a hard date and it's going to be nasty. And then he revises that policy very close to the time that it is supposed to take effect, sometimes before, sometimes after. We'll see if this time is different. It certainly could be, right? He knows, I would think that he knows if he keeps bluffing that the market's going to get numb to this. And maybe that's what he wants. I don't know. I really don't know. I think he wants to be taken seriously. But let's face it, some of this behavior doesn't seem all that serious. So let's go ahead and switch over to the order book. We're going to take a look at fire charts, and we'll show you what we've been seeing through the month and see if we can hone in. Obviously, we're looking at Bitcoin right now, clearing some ask liquidity here with whales buying. Purple whales and brown whales have begun buying here today. So this is what you want to see. Now, one day does not make a trend, right? This doesn't necessarily mean we are in for a macro trend reversal. We have to see how things play out as we get to the monthly close and we make it through this, this so-called Liberation Day happening on Wednesday, I guess. April 2nd is when that's supposed to take effect. So let me see if I can get out to a higher time frame chart here. Having some network congestion today, but okay, there we go. So let me see. Did it go even beyond this? Okay, so here's a view of the month, and this is all ask liquidity from this entity that I've dubbed Spoofy the Whale, and it's significant in size, right? People often say to me when I show you an $88 million block of ask liquidity, people go, "Oh, that's not that much money." Well, in the grand scheme of things, it actually is a large concentration of liquidity stacked at one level on one exchange, and if we look through history, those bigger blocks actually really show us where the pivot points are, where the reversal points are in the chart. This was 111 million down this is way back in 2022. This is 96 million back in January of 24. This is really how things kicked off with really the market that we've seen here this year, or over the past year or so. And there's times where it's not even as much, but it's laddered down, right? So in this instance, we don't have a heap right in this spot, but on the bid side, and that's a concern. But on the ask side, you can see how those larger concentrations, 200 million here, 185 million here, etc. Here's 94 million, another 98 million. And now we're looking at 80 million up in this range right here. So the point is that the price tends to move away from these brighter spots on the chart until, of course, it's ready to break through. But at the moment, I don't see enough bid liquidity in this range to really push through this. Maybe we nose up against it and revert, or maybe we see some bids move into place and that changes the trajectory. So let's go back into the monthly time frame where I showed you all of this action here, right? We saw price suppression, and we saw how price reacted to that suppression, right? Time and time again. And when he lifts, price lifted. It works that way most of the time, not all the time, right? Here's an instance where price didn't really move up as expected. So what did he do? He raised it again, and then price began to appreciate. I believe this was over a weekend too. So that also comes into play where there's not as much volume in the order book or on the exchanges during the weekends. And then the suppression began again, and here we are, right? Push it down further, and now lift it. And let's see what happens here. So we got to drill down into lower time frames to see what actually transpired this weekend. And I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough history here to spot it. So here's what I noticed over the weekend. We had this series of liquidity movements from Spoofy the Whale that started to happen more rapidly than they have frequently, most recently, not only did they happen more frequently, they happened at really small increments, right? Here was a little shift here was a little movement here. uh, they roof pulled, it came back, suppression, roof pull, and now guess what? It looks like it's reappearing here. And let me see if this is the same volume. It looks like it could be. So let me show you what I spotted over the weekend, and I can probably illustrate that best here on the post that I put in X on I think this was Saturday. Here we go. So this was these are the asks that I showed you, but on Saturday I noticed some bids that were well aligned with these asks, and even when he roof pulled, so did the bids went with them, and then they reappeared. So what I took from that is that at this stage, when price got this low, Spoofy started buying in this range, and we saw a ladder extend down a bit lower, down to like the 78K range. And so these didn't all get filled, but and he could still push price back down there to do so. But what I gathered from this is the entity that has been suppressing the price, Bitcoin price, for a month, finally started to appear to start buying in this range, right, with a ladder of bids. And this is, of course, a DCA, or a dollar cost averaging strategy, just like I've been telling you guys for the longest time, is really the safest way to participate in this market, because at least for longer term investment positions, because picking the absolute tops and bottoms is really, really hard. So I like to ladder my way in and ladder my way out of trades. And this is a large institutional trader showing you that exact same strategy. Now, I realize it's kind of hard to see here with the resolution on X. Let me see if I can go back to that and find it here on the weekly chart with any better resolution here. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to push the volume percentile filters so that we can see it a little bit better. And here you can see as price as the asks began to move, we started to see bids like perfectly aligned with that, right? It started here. We saw it movement here. We saw more here. We saw movement here. We saw more here. Okay, so this is my hunch, and it came all the way down to what appears to be around the 78K range. Now, there's no way, I have no way of actually proving that this is the same entity. I don't have wallet addresses or anything like that, but just based on the timing and the placement of these bids and asks, I've concluded that this is likely the same entity. And it seems to be playing out as I expected. We got this roof pull on the weekend, this morning, and now price is appreciating. Now, the fact that we see another ladder of ask liquidity, significantly sized, I might add, this is an indication that the game isn't over, right? Maybe he picked up some stuff here and might short from up here once price moves back up a bit. So we're going to have to watch and see how things play out. Personally, I think that a lot of this has to do with obviously the FUD around tariffs happening or supposedly moving into place on Tuesday. And this is going to be a fluid situation, right? Tuesday, those tariffs may go into place. Some of them may go into place. Some of them may not go into place. Wednesday or Thursday, or sometime next week or the week after, we may see a change in those tariffs. These are used as negotiating tactics out of the administration. Yes, some of them will stay in play. Some of them likely will not. So we just have to see how the market, how those policies develop and how the market reacts to that. But at the moment, it looks like at least the Bitcoin market is having a positive reaction to at least this activity in the order book. Whereas most of TradFi, the S&P, not having a great day. Looks like they're off the morning lows, though, off the session lows. So possibly a recovery here being staged out of TradFi as well. I just think that we're in for more volatility certainly through Tuesday. I mean, through Wednesday's, tariff announcement, likely through the end of the week. And quite frankly, likely through the April 15th tax filing deadline. So if not beyond that. So we'll be watching all of these things very, very closely. Sebster says, interesting to hear your observations about Spoofy. Has anyone followed wallet addresses buying in that quantity at that time? I have not. I don't know if anybody else has. There's been quite a bit of stir about Spoofy the Whale across crypto Twitter and in the crypto media. So maybe somebody else has. Maybe one of our quant friends has done that. And if they have, I would love to hear what you've discovered. But whatever the case, I think this is, quite frankly, it doesn't really matter who it is. I mean, sure, we'd like to know, and if it was somebody noteworthy, that would be interesting. But the bottom line is, if we can track what's happening, if we can see it, we can freaking trade it. And one of the things I wanted to see this morning was, right, we had thin liquidity up here, so I knew it wasn't going to take much to move up. And right here, when these brown whales bought, they bought into some ask liquidity so that they didn't have any slippage. And we now see that buying is continuing, but I want to see more bids come into this range, and I want to see them come into this range above 75K, quite frankly. So we're seeing a little bit appear here at the 82K level, but not nearly what we need to see to gain the momentum to move back up and recover some really important levels. And this new ladder of asks that just appeared is going to make it even harder to penetrate, right? I mean, listen, he does not want these to get filled. He may allow the lower rung of this ladder to get filled. If a wick hits it, that would probably be okay with this entity. But I'm willing to bet that they have no intention of getting the upper rungs of this ladder where the real money is of getting hit. So will he move higher? Is this kind of a way to lure in shorts that he can then raise this up and squeeze those shorts? That's entirely possible. But when we see this, we look for bids to, this. Listen, in my opinion, liquidity equals sentiment. So until we see more liquidity in the range, we're not going to have the momentum, the confidence or the momentum to break through, to challenge this. Maybe that's not so important right now. What's important right now is that we, one, can hold above this trend line and start RS flipping these key moving averages, working our way back up level by level, range by range. And the most important one, in my opinion, and look where we're starting to get some confluence between the 100-day moving average and that 2025 open. They're all very close. And over the next day or two, they'll be perfectly aligned. So I like where where things are trending at the moment, obviously, but I don't have a lot of confidence that this is going to play out to a longer term. In other words, I'm not confident that we won't revisit the lows or retest the lows before things resolve themselves. And that's really largely based on this tariff policy. So, the market, what the market fears more than tariffs is uncertainty. And and to me, that's where the biggest problem is. So once there is certainty, whether tariffs are on, tariffs are off, whatever the case may be, once the market kind of normalizes and neutralizes that speculation and can bake things into price, then and only then do we have a chance at really recovering and building that next leg up. So for me, this 2025 open remains the key level that needs to be flipped to reclaim the bull run that, we all expected that we were on. And I still expect that we're on. This dip is certainly within the realm of what we have seen many, many times before during bull markets and post-halving cycles. Let's get a measure on exactly where we are from the all-time high. As it stands, I've said many, many times over the past year, I'm expecting a 20 to 40% correction, and it took forever, literally forever. So our move from the all-time high is still sub 30%, and where we sit right now is actually a decent recovery from that. Just what, 25% from the all-time high. So we are seeing a recovery from this. We could conceivably go lower. Absolutely, we could go lower. And I've seen some predictions, at 70K, at 65K, and 65K. I've liked this 69 because it was the 2021 top, and we spent so much time consolidating in this range trying to flip it. So 69K is still a hot target for me. If this does not develop into a full recovery, 69K is still a hot target to me. And then today I saw in an article that one of the Coinbase articles that quoted Peter Brandt and myself. Brandt was talking about the potential of 65K. And after looking at some of my other charts, I see why that target could come into focus. This was 65K, or very close to it, was the mid-cycle top in 2021. And many technicians considered this to be the actual market top. And this relief rally was really a manipulated distribution rally that took us to an all-time high. So, could this be the mid-cycle top right here? And we're seeing this play out. And this was a much bigger move. This was like a 56% downside move, I think. Let's see. Yeah. So that was a much bigger move, and certainly not off the out of the realm of possibilities. Let's see what that would look like here on a grander scale. 45 would take us down to the, that range. Beyond that range, actually, we're still at 40% move from the all-time high. That's still, that mid-cycle top is still right in there in that 40% range. That 55% move would get us likely to the 200-week moving average, which is, man, historically, that's been a bottom a lot of times. We've only lost that on a couple of occasions, and when we did, that led to bear market, or that was a confirmation of bear market territory. So I want to go back to this chart here for a second and show you that, we're talking about deep corrections, and we've got a lot of history of deep corrections in bull markets. So don't panic because of the correction. That's all I'm saying here at this point. Sebster says we also have a quarterly candle closing today, and that looks quite ugly. Yeah, you know what? I haven't. I looked at that the other day, but I didn't look at it today. And we actually have a new indicator that we've been working on TradingView that is showing us our annual and quarterly. Well, you can put it to any time frame you want in terms of opens, but I really like looking at it on that on the annual and quarterly basis. So you can see we have resistance above at what, 93.5. That's where that's where the 2025 open was. And so, yeah, it's going to be a red close on the quarterly for sure. Now, if we had to look for support on that quarterly, look where that takes us down to that 71.5 range. And for me, if we were indeed to go there, down that low, then I think this comes into play at the 69. There's a couple of levels here where we could pit stop. Had a good argument. I've got a good argument for this 76K range, in part because of this brief consolidation here, in part because of the liquidity in the order book in that range, and also due to the fact that, so see, we have good, decent bid liquidity down here, laddered from 74 to, really 78, but concentrated in the 74 to 77 range. So I could see this being a good support level here. But perhaps even more importantly, is the weekly RSI, which I've got this level marked here at 41.5 on the weekly RSI. And the reason I have that level marked is because if you look at it and you track it on your own chart, you're going to see all the times that Bitcoin price, again, in the weekly time frame, has approached that level. And some like 41, some like 42. I split the difference for us here on this chart just for illustration purposes. But in this range here, we can see that when price breaks down from that, we are in downtrends, macro downtrends, and when price moves up from that, we get back to macro price building and price discovery. So revisiting these levels is a good thing, right? Revisiting these levels is a support test, and you can see we've kind of double bottomed that support test here. Once back in September, when price went right to the trend line and the 50-week moving average, and again, most recently, at the beginning of this month, when price went down to that low. What was our low? Our was 80,000, and the low was 76.5. So those are all conceivable. Now, what I like about 76.6 versus 76.5 is it would not create a lower low, right? So if we do go revisit this, if this doesn't develop into an RS flip at the 21-week moving average and up from there, if we have another breakdown, will it be a higher low or a lower low? So watching this very, very closely, because if it's a lower low, then I think that opens the door for more downside to this 76K level that I just discussed with you. And I would like to see it because of this brief consolidation here and the liquidity that I just showed you in the order book. The more bullish case would be a higher low here. Okay, simple as that. Just think higher low is good. And with that, if it's a lower low, then I think that this can indeed come into play. Now there's a case for like a 71.5, like I just looked at, and that is because of where the quarterlies lie. Real quick, let's look at what's happening just kind of at the grand scheme of things. Bitcoin dominance is up. Total 3 is taking a hit today. But USDT dominance rolling down just a little bit here. So I think the market, some market participants see opportunity on this correction, while others remain cautious. Listen, we should all remain cautious here. There's no question about it, right? But also know that when people are fearful, that's the time to be greedy. And with that, guys, I'm going to wrap it. I want to remind you, we do have, if you haven't seen any of this content, you can find it on my X channel. And I also want to remind you that if you're interested in any of these tools, so you can get the alpha and act on it quickly, then I encourage you to take advantage of our flash sale going on right now and today only. It ends at midnight tonight. Here's the deal right here. Let's expand that for you. 30% off Premium Plus. You get all the tools we got. Everything everything current and every future retail release as well for 30% off. Use promo code Alpha30 at checkout. Links are in the description. And with that, guys, I'm going to leave you with a parting view of the order book so we can see what's happening here. You see, listen, like it's scary to see this overhead liquidity here, but at the moment, whales are still buying. Okay, so keep an eye on the order flow, and that's going to tell you the direction things are going. If we see a mass dump here out of purple and brown, that may be an indication that we're topping locally here. But I don't think the real move is going to present itself until we get past this tariff liberation day BS. All right. Hope that helps you out, guys. I do appreciate all of the support as always. If you haven't done so yet, smash all the buttons. Make sure you hit that subscribe button above so you don't miss any of the streams in the future. And with that, we're going to wrap it. And I want to remind you guys, not only do I want you to be trading smarter, I want you to have a great week. Do it.